I make myself presentable for the cameras. Hazel hugs me. Enjoy the food. Absolutely, I say. My next stop, the Hob, where I traditionally have done my bulk of trading. Years ago, it was a warehouse to store coal. But when it fell into disuse, it became a meeting place for illegal trades, and then blossomed into a full-time black market. If it attracts a somewhat criminal element, then I guess I belong here. Hunting in the woods surrounding District 12 violates at least a dozen laws and is punishable by death. Although they never mention it, I owe the people who frequent the Hob. Gail told me that Greasy Say, the old woman who serves up soup, started a collection to sponsor Peta and me during the games. It was supposed to be just a Hob thing, but a lot of other people heard about it and chipped in. I don't know exactly how much it was, and the price of any gift in the arena was exorbitant. But, for all I know, it made the difference between my life and my death. It's still odd to drag open the front door with an empty game bag, with nothing to trade, and instead feel the heavy pocket of coins against my hip. I try to hit as many stalls as possible, spreading out my purchases of coffee, buns, eggs, yarn, and oil. As an afterthought, I buy 3 bottles of white liquor from the one-armed woman named Ripper, a victim of a mine accident, who was smart enough to find a way to stay alive. The liquor isn't for my family. It's for Hamish, who acted as mentor for Peta and me in the games. He is surly, violent, and drunk most of the time. But he did his job. More than just his job, because for the first time in history, 2 tributes were allowed to win. So no matter who Hamish is, I owe him too. And that's for always. I'm getting the white liquor because a few weeks ago he ran out and there was none for sale, and he had a withdrawal, shaking and screaming at terrifying things only he could see. He scared Prim to death, and frankly, it wasn't much fun for me to see him like that either. Ever since then, I've been sort of stockpiling the stuff, just in case there's a shortage again. Cray, our head peacekeeper, frowns when he sees me with the bottles. He's an older man with a few strands of silver hair combed sideways above his bright red face. That stuff's way too strong for you, girl. He should know. Next to Hamish, Kay drinks more than anyone I've ever met. My mother uses it as medicines, I say, indifferently. Well, it would kill just about anything, he says, and slaps down a coin for a bottle. When I reach Greasy Say's stall, I boost myself up to sit on the counter and order some soup, which looks to be some sort of gourd and bean mixture. A peacekeeper named Darius comes up and buys a bowl while I'm eating. As law enforcement goes, he's one of my favorites. Never really throwing his weight around, usually good for a joke. He's probably in his 20s, but he doesn't seem much older than I do. Something about his smile, his red hair that sticks out every which way, gives him a boyish quality. Aren't you supposed to be on a train? He asks me. They're collecting me at noon, I say. Shouldn't you look better? He asks in a loud whisper. I can't help but smiling at his teasing, in spite of my mood. Maybe a ribbon in your hair or something. He flicks my braid with his hand. I brush him away. Don't worry. By the time they get through with me, I'll be unrecognizable, I say. Good. Let's show a little district pride for a change. Miss Everdeen. Huh? He shakes his head as Gracie say in a mock disapproval and walks to join his friends. Hey, I'll want that bowl back, Gracie say calls after him. But since she's laughing, she doesn't sound particularly stern. Gail gonna see you off? She asked me. No, he wasn't on the list. I saw him Sunday, though. I think he would have made the list, him being your cousin and all, she says wryly. It's just one more part of the lie that the Capitol concocted. When Peta and I made it into the final 8, the Capitol sent reporters to do personal stories about us. When they asked about our friends, everyone pointed them to Gail. But it wouldn't do, what with the romance I was playing in the arena. Had to have my best friend be Gail. He was too handsome, too male, and not the least bit willing to smile and play nice for the camera. We do resemble each other, though, quite a bit. We have that seam look. Dark, straight hair, olive skin, gray eyes. So some genius made him my cousin. I didn't know about it until we were already home. On the platform at the train station, and my mother said, "Your cousins can hardly wait to see you." Then I turned and saw Gail and Hazel and all the kids waiting for me. So what could I do but go along? Greasy Say knows that we're not related, but even for some of the people who have known us for years seem to have forgotten. I just can't wait to get the whole thing over, I whisper. I know, Greasy Say says, but you've got to go through it to get to the end of it. Better not be late. A light snow starts to fall as I make my way to the Victor village. It's about a half-mile walk from the square in the center of town. But it seems like another world entirely. It's a separate community built around a beautiful green dotted flowering bushes. There are 12 houses, each large enough to hold 10 of the one I was raised in. 9 stand empty. They always have. 3 in use belonging to Hamish, Peta, and me. The house is inhabited by my family, and Peta give off the warm glow of life. Lit windows, smoke from the chimneys, bunches of brightly colored corn affixed to the front of the doors as decoration for the upcoming harvest festival. However, Hamish's house, despite the care taken by the groundskeeper, exudes an air of abandonment and neglect. I brace myself at his front door, knowing it will be foul, and then push inside. My nose immediately wrinkles in disgust. Hamish refuses to let anyone in to clean, and does a poor job himself. Over the years, the odor of liquor and vomit, boiled cabbage and burned meat, unwashed clothes and mouse droppings have intermingled into a stench that brings tears to my eyes. I wade through the litter of discarded wrappings, broken glasses, and bones to where I know where I will find Hamish. He sits at the kitchen table, his arms sprawled across the woods, his face in a puddle of liquor, snoring his head off. I nudge his shoulder. "Get up!" I say loudly, because I've learned there's no subtle way to wake him. His snoring stops for a moment, questioningly, and then resumes. I start to push him harder. "Get up, Hamish! It's 2 or